It's 7 o'clock, folks. Let's stand for the pledge and call this meeting to order.
Not necessarily in that order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
My favorite part of the whole meeting. I love that.
It's kind of old-fashioned, isn't it?
I like it.
I agree. My favorite part of meeting is.
Yeah, the one you always call for the agenda. Yeah, we already know. Amendments to the agenda.
None for me.
Anybody else? John?
If I could, as the health officer, I have a severe problem on Mechanic Street, and I need to get it on the agenda so we can take some action to correct it if we're going to.
So just call it health officer report?
Yes.
Okay. Put it under new business. Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we add health officer report on our agenda under new business, item C.
Second it.
Thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No, I mean, I voted yes.
I didn't hear you.
I was running a little slow.
Jeff, is it unanimous?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was a yes. I just didn't hit my mute button fast enough.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of November 17th.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Any additions, deletions, corrections?
Just on the part, again, on the grant recipients, this last sentence, Cindy Pritchard, Judy Sutherland served on the, it says Energy Committee, it's the Economic Development Committee, just.
What did I write?
Energy Committee. which, but we're good.
We could use new members.
Yeah.
Well, I knew better. It's
Okay. Everybody okay?
a brain typo.
Yep. The rest is fine.
Everybody okay with those changes?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Okay. Appointment with Rod Holdsworth.
Rod, I'm sorry, I spelled your name wrong.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a lot. Sorry, man.
And I'm the second, not the third.
Oh, there you go.
I talked to Joe a couple weeks ago and requested time to explain what's going on with the solar arrays that we asked the board, the previous board, to sign a letter for two 150K arrays. If you recall, a couple of years ago, Green Mountain Power was in here with the same board and explained that there was no capacity in town, but there was a lot of capacity north of town. Well, the interconnection, the studies that ensued after we did the applications, they came back and said there was no capacity in north of town. They could only accommodate a 70,000 watt array, just one. So without a three-phase build out all the way to my north entrance.
Well, there's three-phase.
There's two, just one single phase up that far.
Oh, okay.
It would require about a mile, that their initial reply was it would require about a mile of three-phase build out. So we changed gears and we changed the arrays to 500 kilowatts because we can absorb, they could absorb more interconnection requirements, and the 500 kilowatts requires three-phase anyway. The reason we went with 150K is because you don't need three-phase But they came back and said, there is no capacity, we have to go three-phase. So, we just got on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, we just got the interconnection requirements, and it's crushing financial requirements to do that three-phase build-out.
I wondered about that. I was just gonna ask you, who's paying for that?
That, in theory, the solar company has to pay that. And, they want 1,000 feet of directional bore, underground directional bore, as well as the entire, from the substation all the way out, the entire three-phase, the entire leg has to be upgraded. All on that, and they said only one 500 kilowatt would be supported. The other site would have to be a 150. And they just can't support that kind of cost just to do the interconnection. So initially, when I talked to Joe, it was, I just wanted to tell you guys that we were changing gears to 500s. And we actually hid them even more, so we didn't see any problem with it, anticipate any problem with it. But I told Ralph Mima that I wanted the board to find out through us that we were changing gears. Since you guys signed a letter for 150s, I didn't want to have a conversation that you felt that we bait and switched. So I wanted to be forthcoming. But in the meantime, Green Mountain Power, 2 years ago there they had plenty of capacity north of town, but now they're saying, no, we have no capacity north of town.
I thought there was.
They encouraged this.
I thought, because we were talking about the water plant.
Right, we were talking about the water, the hydro facility would have been in trouble because there was nothing downtown, and then they said, if there's any place you're going to do any of that kind of stuff, it's north of town because there's a ton of capacity up there.
Right. That's a.
And there's not. They also said at that meeting, if you recall, that the upgrade for Fairhaven to get the bump up the voltage and therefore get capacity and get us in with the current world, the rest of the world, was 2 to 3 years away. My recommendation to the board would be get them back in here and see what it is now, because obviously they gave us bad information. We initially went with 2 150s, because you don't need three-phase, and there was a ton of capacity, so we thought it was, pretty much a slam dunk. And it wasn't. And it's taken almost 18 months to go through and get the answers, that we got today, on Friday. So the reason for the appointment changed since I talked to Joe, but
So are you going to go back to 150 or?
Well, they're saying now that they won't even entertain 2 500s.
Right.
They'll entertain 1 500 and a 150. But we still have to build out three-phase all the way. And three-phase is not necessary for 150s. But they are saying that that's what they want. So I would say they were looking to get the north end of town built out on someone else's dime. But at this point, you just can't. The Green Lantern cannot absorb that kind of interconnection costs. So they're dead in the water. Well, they're hoping for a miracle, but they don't anticipate anything positive. But I'd say the North Town south of town, in town, there is no capacity until they do their network upgrade, which is due theoretically this coming in 2021 or 2022.
That's real good. We should get those people to talk to us and tell us where we are, because
You'll be in 2022 and you're wondering what's going on,
right.
and they'll come back and say, oh, no, you know,
We push that out.
we pushed it out, it'll be 10 years from now or whatever.
I'm just kind of shocked by the lack of three-phase that they said we had up there.
Well, lack of capacity. We didn't need three-phase I mean, we sized it appropriate to the plant that was there, that supposedly had plenty of capacity. And they came back and they would only accommodate 70,000 watts. 70,000 watts. So the capacity that they said was there is not there.
Well, yeah, we should pursue that, because we're sitting on substandard power anyways, which they said they were going to improve. So we should push that. Everybody around here is in a much better position than we are.
Yeah, I'll reach out to GMP
I
and
mean,
see.
West Haven is the same,
Yeah, but
Poultney is the same.
no, Poultney isn't.
Oh,
Poultney is.
to Ralph, that they were in the same boat.
Yeah, I
They
don't
have
think so,
changed.
because when we talked about that, it was kind of us alone that was
Oh, okay, but that's on capacity.
capacity.
Yes, the plants, the grid is the same in
Yeah,
it's antiquated voltage. You know, for all these towns, Western Rutland County.
I'll be darned.
Hard to be darned. What a coincidence.
What about the projects over on Manchester Road, going down into Pulley, North Pulley? They're talking about doing the Militia. There's plenty of capacity there for the three-phase power. It's not being used by the sleep quarters anymore.
Yeah, but they'd already built out three-phase to the cores, so they'd just hop on those lines.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So this would, a couple meetings ago, when they talked about the counter proposal for the solar array at the airport, it becomes a moot point if you haven't got three-phase.
Capacity.
Well, but from the airport to the substation, that's a third of a mile of, you know, no longer necessary three-phase build-out. You only have to get to the airport and upgrade to the airport. I'm a third of a mile beyond the airport. So they might be able to justify it, I don't know. And how big is the
They may
grid?
not have gotten that far
I think right.
Their-
I'm wondering if they're
their
gonna.
proposal anyways. They may not have.
Oh, yeah.
Or
They may find out that the capacity's not there for them either, and they're gonna want a ton of money for that. I mean, they wanted 1,000 feet of directional boring. They wanted to put 2 pipes in, and they wanted Green Lantern to pay for all of it. And they only needed 1 pipe.
Right, and then they'd have.
I don't really agree with, you know, the way they're allowed to do things, but,
Well, it's nice to be the only game in town.
yeah, right. But, you know, the Green Lantern was paying for the whole thing, and they get an extra pipe
Yeah,
out of the deal.
which they can.
I
do
would
with their convenience.
think that they should share the cost, but they won't.
But they don't have to.
So,
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And thanks for
Appreciate the
that.
update.
well,
Actually,
it turned into a heads up.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
town ought to get them back in here and say, hey, you know, number one, what you said wasn't quite true. And number two, what's the build out schedule now to get Fairhaven back into
the 20th century?
the 20th century? Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely.
I'll reach out to GMP and get an update.
Any questions for Rod or?
No, appreciate the heads up.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for your.
Well, it is what it is, but.
Yeah, I know. All right, we're gonna move on. We have appointment with the rescue squad.
John, you're up.
John? Hi, John.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I was appointed by you folks to represent Fairhaven with the rescue squad. I have quite a background when it comes to EMS, being a former EMT, former paramedic, firefighter, and basically the same kind of situation that Fairhaven Rescue Squad's in. And like them, I started out as a volunteer too, but as times changed, more training was required, the call volumes increased, and it became to the point where you had to pay people to do the job. Now, have you already gotten the letter for Capita Raise?
No, John, it didn't get here. I was told it was in the mail yesterday.
Okay. You'll be getting your letter for the per capita raise, and I'll give you the heads up now then, since you haven't seen it with your own two eyes, that we're going to be asking for the per capita to be raised to $48. Now, that seems like a heck of a lot of money. However, what started out as a volunteer organization, the billing went through insurance companies, and we were able to accrue quite a bit of money. But we had a lot of finances to sustain things. Had 3 ambulances there. The volunteers covered the shifts they could. But as time went on, like everything else, fire departments included, the volunteering got to be very minimal, and which was forced to pay them. Now, the per capita rate in Fairhaven was started out at $10. And apparently that remained that way up until 2018. In that time frame, it was raised twice just for the purchase of equipment. And it was dropped right back down to the $10. From my understanding, in 2018, it was raised to $20. Now, due to the fact that we have paid staff now that's there 24/7, 2 paid members, advanced life support, as well as basic life support, the expenses have pretty much depleted what Fairhaven raised as a volunteer organization. So, in other words, in the next year or two, that money's not going to be there at all. So, what we were requesting was for the per capita to be raised, which to be put on the ballot in March to $48. Unfortunately, it's a reality because there hasn't been any adjustment for the cost of living or inflation for 25 years. So, the new things that have been done, right now Sean Galvin, whom I'm sure all of you know, has taken over leadership of the Fairhaven Rescue, and Sean has done nothing less than a superb job. Along with Tom Newman from Benson, he's their Q&A guy, their assistant supervisor, and those two are just fantastic. They've gotten rid of the 1 ambulance. We've got a new board of directors down there, new leadership being Sean and Tom. We've contracted with a new billing company. We've gotten grants already through the federal for their COVID, unfortunately, the COVID situation. And now they're trying to develop more relationships with medical facilities to increase the number of routine transfers. And that, believe it or not, is the big money maker in EMS. So, looking ahead, right now there's no way possible to continue for Fairhaven Rescue Squad without this per capita cost. Like I said, what you're getting is you're getting 2 providers in station 24/7, 365 days a year. Unfortunately, right now we have 2 vehicles on the fleet. One is a 2006 ambulance with 188,000 miles. The other is a 2014 with 88,000 miles. The building needs a little bit of maintenance. Well, it needs a lot of maintenance, but we're doing what we can to maintain that. So, the letter will be coming to you should be there. And we're also going to submit, within the next 2 weeks, you'll be receiving our copy of our budget, our projected budget. So all of you can look at it. All of you can make recommendations one way or the other, to Sean preferably, or in writing to the board, for any kind of amendments to it in any way, shape, or form. Because, we're still looking for ideas too. Now, I understand that, Joe was given permission to get a quote from Rutland Regional, which to me, that's fine. And I mean, I totally respect that. However, that being said, I've been in EMS since I was 18 years old, and I'm 57 right now. There's such thing, and I don't know if any of you have ever been involved in an ambulance service at all, or emergency services. There's something called a golden hour. And that golden hour is the time that it takes from the phone call that's made to 911 to the time that patient receives definitive emergency care, whether it be in an ER for a trauma or for a cardiac related emergency. But for Rutland Regional to make it to the center of Fairhaven, and I did this with my own vehicle and timed it just for the sake of doing it, was 32 minutes. Now, just 2 weeks ago, we had a gentleman in Fairhaven suffered anaphylactic shock. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's only a few minutes till your throat closes. Luckily, they were on scene. Within a few minutes, the guy had a patent airway. He lived. Everything's fine and it was a true life-saving measure. And I'm not going to wait 32 minutes. But like I said, I commend you guys for reaching out to them and trying to get, a better deal. But in another frame, hey, the per capita rate stands for itself. I mean, the money, we're not trying to make a buck out of it. We're just trying to make ends meet any way we can. Like I said, you will be receiving the letter probably tomorrow. And within the next 2 weeks, I'm sure you'll have a copy of our budget, which has already been approved by the board to be sent to you. So it was only a little bit of tweaking that we had to do. And like I said, it would be mailed out. Now, everything, the communities that we serve, being Fairhaven, West Haven, Hubbardton, and Benson, are all having to up their per capita. They've all gonna get the same thing, and hopefully this will go. Hopefully we can put this on a ballot in March for the voters to come out and, see what they have to say, but we have to educate them. But this time, anybody has any questions, comments, feel free.
I was just gonna say that, John, this is Bob Richards. I was just gonna say that this is a huge, it's doubling what we've been doing. So
Correct.
do your homework and do your politics. Get the word out. We'll put it on. We'll put it on the ballot anyways. It's there. Make as many, show as many numbers as you can. Whatever you can do to get the word out, because it's gonna be a tough sell. It's gonna be, sticker shock, for lack of a better term.
I totally agree with you, Bob. I mean, everybody, it's a two and a half times the rate that's going on right now. And unfortunately, like you said, it is an uphill battle, and people need to be educated, and we have to get the word out. Prior to this, we'll be sending a flyer out, with pleading our case,
that would be good,
so to speak. But we'll do that a week or two before the election, or before the ballot goes out. But that's all we can do. I mean, we're just trying to make ends meet to keep things going here. And our staff there isn't, they're not paid the highest of wages by any means. I mean, these people do it with their heart. I know I volunteered forever before I was paid for it, and it takes a lot. And hopefully, through a lot of education and, like you said, politicking, we can get this passed. But I know it's a big chunk, but that's all we got to do, you know, that's all we have to go with right now. So, like I said, you guys will receive our budget, and feel free, you know, contact myself, Sean, whomever. Joe has my contact info. Anything, you know, that can help with the budget, feel free.
John, Glenn Travers, just a couple comments.
Yes,
One is the question of all the towns are gonna get sticker shock and go out and vote for whether they support the 100, like for us, I can only speak to the 123,000 that it's going up to. And
Right.
what happens if one or two towns vote it down?
You know what? We've been asking ourselves that same question, and we're not sure what's going to happen. Fairhaven is our bread and butter. We have reached out even to Pulteney to merge, and at this time, Pulteney's declining 100%. Why? I have no idea. I mean, it's a win-win situation for them, and we don't know why they're declining it, but like I said, we're not sure, but Fairhaven, like I said, is our bread and butter. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it when I got into this on the board of directors that our financial situation was so dire, and which it was quite sticker shock to me. So
The second
here we go.
The second comment I have, I don't know if you as a board went out and looked to see what other departments like, but matter of public record, when you look at Castleton, for example, as Rutland Regional,
Right,
their
correct.
voters voted in $36,218 for their coverage. So
Right.
understand that when I sit here and think and see that and see $123,000, I'm trying to understand that large disparity between the two.
Well, what I'm thinking that, and I can't definitively answer your question. However, being from something much larger than this area has, being from that type of organization, all I'm thinking of right there is numbers of people, the volume of people that they have, plus the volume of routine transfers, as I said. Routine transfers is the bread and butter of an organization. So that's the only thing that I can answer your question with. And even then, you know, it might not be a good enough answer, but that's the way that I'm looking at it. And from what I understand, they weren't even allowed to put an ambulance in Castleton. I'm just used to an expeditious response in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. I can't get used to it. And I've encountered this running with the fire department on a fatal vehicle accident. We had to wait 32 minutes or more for Rutland Regional to get there. And I mean, the way that my training is, I'm a very hands-on person, and for me, it just didn't make a lick of sense in the world. But unfortunately, that's what we have. So, you know, now things have changed. At Fairhaven is back to the advanced life support where the paramedics can do their thing, and that's the biggest hurdle that we've had to overcome right now.
Jay Brown, I've got a couple of different questions.
Yes.
Number one, you couldn't have picked the worst year. The increase is
Okay.
the way it is.
Yeah, right.
Last year we increased it $25,000, and this year you're asking us to increase it almost $70,000. You know,
Right.
the taxpayers in this town can't keep affording this. You should have looked at it if you'd meant it like halfway or something, it might have been a little better story. I cannot, as a selectman, I cannot support this type of increase. And
I totally understand, you know, I totally understand what you're saying, Jay.
and my other question is, how many extra miles are put on these ambulances by them just driving around town? Like going to the store, going to Castleton, they drive to Castleton to the deli to pick up food. How many miles are put on them just driving around?
That is being addressed as we speak. That was brought up, and we will address that much more. However, I can't even answer that. I couldn't begin to give you a realistic answer for that whatsoever. So that would be something that would have to be addressed to Sean.
Well, and the other, my third one is, I disagree with you on your 32 minutes from Rutland. I drive back and forth to Rutland a lot.
Right.
And I don't know, you must've been driving 35 miles an hour to do it that long.
I do the 65 mile an hour speed limit.
An ambulance isn't gonna travel at 65 miles an hour if they're coming for an emergency.
Well, you know what though? Unfortunately, I was looking at it the legal way.
Well,
Okay.
I still don't understand where you got 32 minutes. I don't know where you started from.
Rutland Regional.
No.
Okay.
I don't
And,
know.
but it's, I understand what you're saying, but the time is of essence in anything.
I understand that.
Involved in EMS.
I understand that.
And
I just feel this is a real bad year to be hitting the taxpayers in this town, this kind of money. And you know, when you're talking about Caston, like what they just said about the, how much it was in Caston, and you said it because there was more people. It's still only $8,000 or whatever it is, $38,000. And they've got more people, and we've got a small town here with probably 2,700 people. And you're expecting $123,000 out of them?
What I'm saying is it's not just Castleton though, because Rutland Regional also has Rutland, West Rutland, probably North Clarendon area, which I'm talking their whole volume in general, not just Castleton municipality.
But the thing of it is too, is that, I hate to say mismanagement, but there's been a place down there where nothing was taken care of. And you expect the taxpayers of Fairhaven to take the burden for somebody else's mistake. And I just think it's, I could have supported 75,000, but I can't support this other one. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard of the amendment, however, I wasn't involved to deal with it, so I can't even comment on what had transpired before Sean and Tom took it over.
But you're expecting the taxpayers to take care of the problem that was there, and I don't think it's proper.
Well, I mean, who else would?
Huh?
Who else would?
Well, but it can't keep going the way it's going. I mean,
No,
you can't expect the taxpayers we've got a new sewer plant going in, we've got all this other stuff going in, and they come out and zap us with this type of a raise. I mean, come on. I understand they gotta operate, but you know something? There's gotta be another way of making money than hit the taxpayer. We basically have a retirement town here, and these people only have so much money.
The thing you have going for you, and this particular budget may stretch that as much as it's gonna be stretched, is people have a real ownership for this rescue squad, because there's a lot of people that still remember starting it up. So you've got that, but it's gonna be a difficult road to hoe, that's for sure.
I totally understand that, and I respect your opinions 100%. I mean, it's just like was mentioned previously, was the mismanagement, and I've heard about it. However, as far as commenting on it, I couldn't even comment because I don't know the names. I don't know what happened. However, I know that when I walked into that, 3 months ago or so to the board of directors, I was in shock myself. I mean,
yeah.
just as much as you guys are about the cost. I mean, it's unfortunately it is what it is, and that's what we're stuck with right now.
I mean,
for us to survive, but
you're our representative there. Obviously, you will tell them how the meeting went tonight.
Oh yeah.
So we don't want to beat up the messenger. We understand.
Oh, no. I totally understand that, and I respect that.
But it's a shock.
I very much anticipated this.
Well,
Have they, you said that they asked Pulteney if they would merge.
Correct.
What about merging with Rutland Regional?
Right.
I don't believe that was discussed. The reasoning, I have no idea, but I know that Sean and Tom have not discussed merging with Rutland Regional. I heard some things through the grapevine, but That's stuff that I've heard through the grapevine and I don't want to comment publicly on.
That would be a question that probably should be, you guys should be,
Pursuing,
pursuing,
correct.
at least finding out what the deal is,
I will totally bring that to their attention when we meet next week.
there's, I mean, it makes sense if that happens, that they keep the rescue squad building going, and maybe even have another crew here that gets Western Rutland County, but we should be exploring every possibility, that's for sure.
Oh, we're trying. Trust me, we're brainstorming what we can, and you know, all I can tell you is that's what we have right at this point, and what goes forth from here, you'll be notified of. I'm certain of that. But any other ideas, I will, you know, totally notify anybody of any changes of anything, and changes of any plans, or like you said, any prospective mergers. Just because, you know, we might need some of your guys' political help just to do any prospective merger. We don't know that. So, you know, that's always, like you said, it's always an opportunity, an open suggestion, and, you know, we'll expand on it and see what happens.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
John, Jeff Sheldon.
Yes.
Just, you mentioned you were going to get a pamphlet out a couple weeks before the vote, and with the number of absentee ballots that are probably going to come in early, you may want to push that back.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What's the time frame with the absentee ballots?
Well, it just happens that the town clerk is here. She may have an answer.
They have to go out 20 days before the election.
20, okay. Did you hear that, John? They have to go
How
out
many days?
20 days.
20 days?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely make note of that. And yeah, I mean, we have to do anything we can politically, educationally to the public. We planned on setting up, you know, like a Zoom with one of our board of directors meetings, or have a public informational type thing on Zoom for the municipality if anybody wanted to visit. Like you said, unfortunately this year, not a good year for doing any of this, you know, but unfortunately it is what it is, and the finances being depleted, so this is what we're stuck with.
Well,
But
do your homework and get the word out.
I do. I thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for representing us, John.
Hey, have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. And we all good, everybody? Thank you, John.
Yes.
Let's see, well, that's more good news. 5 minutes for public comment. I'm not hearing any. Department head reports. You're it. We'll get to you.
Okay, we will start with the police department. They gave me a report. It has thankfully been rather quiet. The PD's focusing on traffic. They had their card up on North Main, tracking folks up there. They're increasing foot patrols in the stores now because of this this panic buying of toilet paper and just your basic necessities. So they're making sure the stores are safe. We have not heard from the Doty family down on Adam Street, so it's not sounding like they're interested in working with us.
What's our next step?
The next step, it's the tough row. It's the tough row to hoe. We go to court and we win. We will win the court case. Those tickets will then we'll get a judgment on the tickets, and the Doties will owe us however much money is owed. At that point, we can lien the property for however much money is owed. You have to wait 2 years for that lien to mature, and then you can put it up for tax sale like you do like we do with anything else. He's got time, and I'd rather not go that direction, but sometimes. Moving on, highway, they picked up most of the leaves. They were doing that this year. They're trying to get a better jump on that, just so we don't have all that stormwater concern like we had last year. Leaves piling up on our storm drains. The trucks have been undercoated, and they're getting to the end of fall road grading. There's still a few that need to be touched up or just completely done. They were working on Inman Pond this week today. The water plant, they're looking to improve their internet connectivity up there, since we have the ability to read the water meters from driving in the truck. Instead of driving that information up here and then connecting to our system, they want to be able to go back to the plant and then send it over the internet. So they're working on that. That's going to be COVID money, hopefully. We got a quote for that. Sewer, they do finally have the 90% drawings that I've been talking about since, I don't know, 2 meetings ago, and they're reviewing those now. They're also working on upgrades at the Adams Street and Academy Street pump station, and getting numbers on those. We've had, and I think I've said it before, but I think it's worth still saying, or bringing back up. So we're still reading meters on a weekly basis, and that information has just become invaluable when working with homeowners. We're able to send out weekly letters saying, hey, it looks like you have an unusual amount of water going through your system. Can you please just check it out? And it really stops that huge ballooning of a water bill, and really kind of tempers the anger that we were getting prior to this. And surprisingly, folks, I've heard more than one story. They said, oh yeah, I found my toilet was leaking. Or there was one young lady today, there was some hot water that was left on in the basement. So it's working. For me, at Town Hall, we have a notice of hearing. Mr. Zach Roberts disagrees with the lister's assessment of his property. So that's going to court on December 9th. Mr. Rodney McPhee is representing us. It's a 15-minute hearing. So we'll see how that turns out.
Is that with the state board?
This says Supreme Court.
Really?
With the notice of hearing, yeah. That doesn't seem right, does it?
No, he chose to do the court versus property valuation and review.
Is that what it goes? Oh, I thought it went to
Court.
Well, they have a choice. You can go to the state and do it through the state of Vermont, or you can go to the court system.
Wow.
He chose the court.
Really?
This is for
I would think that'd be more expensive
Oh, it
and less likely to.
$275
Yeah.
versus 75.
Where's that
That's more than
property?
paying what the cost of
Is it Wisconsin?
taxes
You're
are.
on taxes.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Oh, I did, so as John mentioned, I did,
Ultraman. Last one's out of the trees.
I did reach out to Rutland Regional to talk about ambulance service. He said it's a lot of, Mr. Finger said it's a lot of work to pull those numbers together to give me a hard number to bring to the board. He recommended, if the board was serious about moving to regional, to put something on the ballot as kind of a straw poll to ask the residents, are you in favor of getting quotes from regional? And then he said he would be willing to pull something together.
It doesn't seem it would be that hard to do. I'm sorry.
Don't shoot the
You punch a
messenger.
few numbers on the computer and there it is.
Politics going on in there. No one wants to
Yes,
step on
there
the other
is.
one- on the other one's toes.
Well, yeah, and there's history.
Oh, I spoke to Consolidated Communication last week. Some good news. they're running fiber next year, and they're gonna connect more than 1,700 of our homes up to their fiber network. I reached out just to ask him about some wire that was going in over on Sheldon Road. He gave me that good news. So, starting in the spring, we'll see Consolidated's trucks out stringing out more fiber. Wayne Elliott, Aaron talked to Wayne Elliott about the tunnel over at the water plant. Wayne recommends right now just to monitor that water leak. He says that it might not be anything, it could be like that for another 30 years. We are taking care of the water situation. There's a little bit of water coming out of that tunnel. We got to corral that and move that to our stormwater system, and the guys will be doing that. I think it's this week, so we want to do it before it starts to freeze. We talked about regional. So the young lady that did our sexual harassment training, turns out they do all kinds of trainings. So we're doing some safety training for our DPW tomorrow. They also do a supervisory series. So we're gonna get our supervisors, myself included.
And tomorrow is what?
Safety training. Job safety. Yeah, so we're gonna start getting a little bit of training done for our supervisors too. The harassment training, I don't know if I let you know, but that went really well. And because it went well, this just kind of spun off to this additional training. It's nice to have these resources.
That's from our insurance company?
Yes. Yep. Free so far. They give us a training budget. I don't know what that number looks like. They've never told me. But so far, everything's been... well,
it's to their benefit. I mean, yeah, it is.
And if you got to your boxes, the town manager contract was in there for review.
I didn't get one either.
Oh, I got it. Should have been in the box. In the box?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get one?
Yeah, I did.
I'll get you one. Stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did.
And I think that's it. I think that's what I got for you. I'm sure something will come up and I'll remember here in like 20 minutes.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
Just one, Joe. Can you give us just a brief summary? You're changing for about a week about closing
the COVID
meetings and COVID, and maybe you could just bring us up to speed.
Yeah, sure. So we're gonna, starting tomorrow, we're gonna close town hall to the public. This is just preemptive. There have been a lot of folks, and I don't know who, but there were a lot of folks that did a lot of traveling over the holiday, and there were a lot of folks that had family in from out of state. It seemed like it was a better idea to close town hall to prevent, infection, as opposed to letting somebody come in and infect the town hall and then have to close. So we're going to let it ride for 2 weeks and then we'll open back up. I don't know of any new cases in Fairhaven or in the surrounding towns. So
it's a little early to tell you anyway.
I'm sorry.
It's a little early to tell you anyway.
It is. It's a little early.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still serving the public. Land records can still be obtained online. And if you need anything, you can just give us a call and we'll work something out.
Any other questions? Comments? All right. All businesses is solar contract approval.
Yeah. So he did not get me his numbers. He had to put his numbers into the contract, and he didn't get those to me in time for the meeting. So we'll move that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Busy meeting anyways. Okay, new business is the server replacement payment approval. We need a motion for that?
Yes, sir.
Sure. You make a motion or?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to expend $3,000 from the municipal building reserve fund to pay the purchase and the installation of a new server.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Questions, comments? This is stuff we planned on last year.
Already did, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those, well, that's unanimous. Okay. Playground grant.
Yes, so to apply for the playground grant, the Land Water Conservation Fund requires a sponsor resolution, which the town of Fairhaven is the sponsor. This is for Bob Richards to sign as the chair. If you see the amount is blank, and that's intentional. Murphy has been continued to raise money, and we didn't want to put a number in there until we got the total. So it's might be a little more than $50,000, but nothing from our reserve funds.
There is a resolution, or is there a
So you'd like a motion?
motion for that too?
I'll make a motion to approve and appoint Bob Richards, the chair of the Fairhaven Select Board, as the authorized representative to sign the project sponsor resolution to apply for the Land and Water Conservation Fund funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. No other sponsor. Thank you. Okay, health officer report.
This report goes back to October 22nd. October 12th rather. It's 22 Mechanic Street in Fairhaven. The enclosed porch is full of household garbage. Another debris and garbage inside the house. And I had a complaint from over 2 residents about rats, I can't put it the other way, running around all over the property. And just can't get a hold of the owner. She lives in Troy, New York now. Refuses to contact me back. And I guess the only way to resolve this problem is to hire a professional exterminator. Like was used for the rat problem down on Main Street that we had this spring. And that was cleared up. So I'm asking for permission from the board to expend money for a professional person to clean this up.
Why get a professional exterminator when the place is still full of garbage? They're just gonna keep coming back.
Well, it's gotta be handled some way, George.
I know, but that's...
I can't do it.
Well,
I don't want that responsibility.
Well, I don't think it's up to the town to clean the inside the house either. I mean...
Well, how are you gonna fix the house?
Well, I don't know what you're gonna do, John. If they're paying their taxes and stuff,
I don't think they are.
well, I don't know. I guess that's something we have to check on, but I mean, unless the place is cleaned up, there's no sense of getting an exterminator.
Well, my question is, what's not do this wrong? I mean, it's not a question, it's an admonition. I mean, we've danced around other properties in this town and done everything backwards and wrong, and it's cost us. So let's make sure we're doing this right. What is our legal responsibility and what is our legal ability? I mean, what can we do to get on that private property? What's your process?
I've done as much as I can. I've condemned the property.
You condemn the property, so what does that give us the right to do? I mean,
I don't know.
We've gotta protect the people around there. Not any different than down on,
Main Street.
Main Street or down,
The owners of the properties down there pay for the exterminator. They're still paying.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry, John.
The owners of the properties are paying for the exterminator to come in and get rid of the problem, and they're still paying for checkups on there all the time.
I'm talking about, so what can we do on Mechanic Street?
Aside of hiring somebody to go in there, I don't know.
I mean, can we do that legally? We have
I
that
would
right?
want to go to our attorney to find out.
If we can get the regs from the health officer, and if you guys could put your head together and find out what we legally can do, then we can make a decision what we wanna spend on that. I mean, we gotta protect the people around there. We've gotta do that, so. I'm
Just,
sorry, go ahead.
no, just a question, is our past practice been, okay, I agree with Jay, we can have the exterminator if we want, but don't clean up the mess.
Right.
It's just gonna come back. Can we clean up the mess? This is what I wanna check with Lee, clean up the mess,
How do we,
get the exterminator, and then the cost of that, I'm gonna put right on whether it's the tax, right on what that person that abandoned that house owes us. So when we're all done, we're not gonna pay our money, if the person who owns it's gonna pay for the extermination and the cleanup, and that should help us even in, if we have to, tax sale or whatever.
Is she delinquent taxes now?
So how can you go on the property and clean this up without first owning the property, or at least having it where if a tax sale is done, like Bob said, we have to take care of the people around there, but we still have to protect the rest of the taxpayers from not having to pay for something that's not their responsibility.
I can't legally go in that house.
Neither can we. So,
Well, I think you'd have a better chance of it than the town would, that's what I'm afraid
I would
of.
have to go to the court.
I mean,
If it's a health hazard, we can't do whatever we need to do legally
Well, rats are a health hazard.
to say, we need to mitigate the problem.
I mean, I think we must have there must be some way for us to get in there. But then it's do we spend that money? And can we add that on to the cost of a tax sale, like you're talking about Doty's down below? Is it the same process? It would seem like it would be, but we should, I mean, let's do this right, let's not get into a.
Well, that's why
Don't want to be sued. I understand what you're saying.
well, I'd recommend going through Boulder or some attorney somewhere to get this legally.
Can we talk to the VLCT or anybody and see what the health officer, what our legal ability is? I'd rather not wait 2 more weeks.
No, I have a right to
That's the
mitigate the
problem.
problem, but I don't know how, I can't go in that property.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to do an extermination and then still have garbage in there, that just doesn't make any sense.
Like the guy says today, there's 2 in 6 weeks and now there's 222, you know?
Well, that's the problem, I mean, we can't sit on this, so. I mean, it would be, does anybody have any idea what it would cost for an exterminator and what it would cost to get rid of the garbage?
Well, I didn't have any person do anything, so I didn't go ask, you know? I know the exterminator that they use down street, he lives right here on North Main, but
I don't know. No, I just don't want to do this wrong.
well, I don't either.
I
That's
think
why
we have to go to a garbage collector, or whatever you wanna call them, and see what kind of a price they want to give to clean the house out. I mean, we can't just go in this thing blind.
Well,
We gotta have actual numbers and.
I didn't feel I had the right to go even ask a garbage collector to go see how much it would cost.
We don't have the right to go on that property.
No, that's,
Just, that's the long and the short of it. We can't touch anything on that property. There are some other properties around town that are pretty bad, and I've reached out to VLCT and told them that I want to clean the property and then charge the homeowner. They said you have no right to touch anything there, whether one person's garbage is another person's treasure. So that bag of old rags is something they want.
Even if it's a health hazard. I mean, if we're seeing vermin there.
I think there's a solution already in progress. Sorry. So I have been in touch with the young lady. Her father died in the property. She didn't know what to do. The property had to go through probate. This was one of the properties that was up for tax sale. I reached out to her and her family. She has got in touch with legal, and they have started the probate process. She found a buyer for that property, and it's moving it's going through that process right now. It might be a month, it might be 2 months, but at the end of it, she will no longer own it, and somebody who is a little bit more responsible will take control.
If that's what we can do, that's what we can do, but that's a little comfort for the neighbors.
If I was an next door neighbor with rats running around in my house because of.
But I don't know, I don't wanna get into a Union Street situation.
No.
But they, kind of.
This would seem to be the path of least resistance. I was gonna take and run it through probate myself, but instead we had some conversations, and now the property can be sold, and this person can get a little value out of the property sale, and then it will be cleaned up.
Sure.
But the selling it and letting the public sector or private sector handle it, private sector handle it on its own seems to be where I sit, seems to be a good way to go.
So the people, because I understand a couple people also came to you to complain about that. So I understand how you deal with this situation, but if I was one of those people and you came to me and told me, sorry, too bad, can't do anything, it's gonna take the time it takes, I'd be on the phone screaming to someone up in Montpelier to try to get some health people down here to say, here's the vermin that's there, let me show you what I have, and see what kind of, if I can't get resolution from the town, I'm gonna get resolution.
You may not.
I mean,
And the main answer might be you can't, but I'd wanna ask the question to make sure that we're on firm ground.
what I would do for the neighbors is get the chapter and verse of what we can do, what we can't do between you two guys, and make sure that they understand that, and make sure that there is a slow but maybe steady progress towards that changing.
Yes.
At least they know we're, and the other end of it is to keep monitoring, John.
Well,
Stay off the property.
Yeah.
I have a right to go on the property, I just can't go in the house.
Well,
Let's make sure that you have a right to go on the.
don't do any more than you have the right to.
Well, I don't know how I'm gonna do really, so can't do anymore.
So get your health regs out and give, I mean, so that we can talk to the neighbors and tell them that we're at least trying to do something. In the meantime, we're doing all we can. Because it's not fair to them.
That's all you can tell them. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, whatever the plan is. Yeah.
Moment,
We
I mean-
just gotta share it.
And if that's the keep on top of it.
And the other thing, quickly, we have a resident that works in town, went over the country, went on the world, and when she comes back, she has to quarantine for 14 days. Before she can go back to work, or at the end of 7 days, she can take a PCR test to shorten the quarantine, so.
So let me see if I heard you correctly. We have somebody who left the country,
Our country.
went,
well, our
and
country,
they're now back,
they're coming back.
they're coming back, and they need to quarantine for the 14 days or live to the rules. And the issue is, they don't intend to live to the rules.
They're not going back to work until they,
They can't go back to work until.
That's,
or take a
John,
PCR.
that's nothing to do with us.
Yes, it is me. I'm just telling you, so you'll be aware of it.
Well, I think everybody knows you got a quarantine. Okay.
She claims she didn't, so.
Well, it'd be the only one in the world. Okay. So now, unless there's anything else, we're going to do budget review. Yeah, starting with elections. Should be a little quieter next year.
Yeah, it's only one election. So I'm not sure if that, hey, I was negligent, I did not fill it out. I was dealing with August and November. The elections from hell. So that can be tweaked, and I could give Joe better numbers tomorrow. So we definitely know that's going down.
That 4,000.
My I have one quick question. Well, you said we only had one election. Is that for the election we got is gonna be for the town budget and school budget, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
That's
if
town.
one of them goes down, is there money gonna be here for another election? If we
There's
start.
always a little bit of room,
Okay.
because the election workers really don't cost a lot. If it's a second election, we make our ballots,
Yeah.
or the school provides them if it's their issue.
I, you know, just, you know.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of
Okay, I
room.
just don't wanna see if it happens,
Right.
not have the money to do it and not, and have to go somewhere else to
So
to
that,
find it.
you're not gonna need 4,000 for voting.
That could be
No.
closer.
The
that could
voting.
be
And
closer
programming
to-
is just one.
So in 2019, looks like that was a single vote year. Can we use
Yep.
those numbers and feel confident?
You could,
It's
but
2,600.
again, tomorrow I'll look and just make sure. what our-
Why don't we just let her bring her numbers in on this election part, and we can come back to that? I mean, it's, let's not start cutting stuff if we don't know exactly what it's supposed to be.
Sure.
I mean, we know we're gonna cut something out of it.
Well, it looks like we can probably
Probably
take,
a couple thousand, maybe.
yeah, a
but
couple
we'll see.
thousand, but let's wait. We're not
Because we
pressed.
don't have the
You're
program,
even looking
we
at
don't
maybe
have-
3,000, if it's $1,000
Yeah.
to do the machine, you know?
Well, the machine will only be for one election,
Okay,
town meeting. Any revotes, we wouldn't use the machine.
okay, so, yeah,
So that
so
alone,
let's
saves.
get numbers and look at it for our next meeting.
All right, go down to town treasurer.
That's just the 2.24 is 2.25% increase.
Questions there? Moving on. Let's do town clerks, you don't have to be here all day.
Well, rumor has it, she's on her way to retirement.
Who's that, the town clerk?
The town
Yes.
clerk? Ah,
That one.
Beautiful thing.
congratulations.
I'm hoping, but my actual end date, my term ends March of '22. So what I want to do is, I'm looking into my figures and numbers for what I'm gonna have. So that wouldn't start till next July. And I'm looking to go on a part-time basis, just to fill out the rest of the term and then bye.
So March of 22 or,
March of '22, yeah. And that, again, I will have better numbers.
So this number will be lower.
That number very well could be lower.
That's
But
okay,
the assistant could be higher,
okay?
okay? So there'll be an adjustment. I'll cut my time but increase some for hers. And I haven't, again, decided whether it's gonna be a 2 or 3 day week, depending on what numbers I get. And the land records, we are back to 1980 in the computer. Surveys, not all, but most of them are done on the site. So that's all been in the right direction.
but you're gonna give us a revision on salary and
Yes.
both the assistant and, so it really doesn't make, everything else is actually down or level.
Oh, those are the two areas.
Kick those back, we'll talk about them again.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you for.
Is there
coming in.
anything? No, everything else is, thank you.
Do we have a lister on the telephone?
We have Lyle on the phone here, or on Zoom.
Hi, Lyle.
Hi, Lyle.
I got another phone number. I thought maybe a lister called in.
Hey there. I'm just eavesdropping tonight.
Yeah.
Actually, where were we gonna fit you?
Lyle is under memberships.
Okay, right, so we're getting there. Can you hold on, Lyle? Would you hold on?
I can hold on as long as you'd like.
Somehow, I thought you might.
You know I'm asking for something, so I will stay all night.
Okay. I wasn't gonna say anything
And you
about.
might get 4 votes.
Okay, so let's get back. Where would we be? We are
The
listers, yeah.
listers,
Did you say there was a lister on or no?
There's a phone number, I don't know who it is, they might just be listening, so no listers. Nope, wait a minute.
It's Nicole Ray.
Oh, hi
Hi,
Nicole!
Nicole.
Hi, how are you guys?
That's recreation.
That's recreation. So no listers.
No listers.
Looks
No
like there's
listers, okay, well,
no
let's-
change.
No, the listers, the small increases you see across the budget, that's all moving towards their, moving all of their systems to electronic. And then the licenses, same thing. Tax mapping is moving to electronic system. And supplies are just supplies.
Doesn't look horrible.
The listers are doing a fabulous job. I don't know if you've seen you saw the tax map that we, this tax map program. It's outstanding. It saves me hours and hours of time. And they're just banging through all of their work. They're doing a fabulous job.
Maybe at some point after the first year, we get a little,
Tutorial.
yeah, on
Sure.
that, so we can, okay.
Okay, well,
No, they're good.
we'll leave it as is unless anybody's got strong feelings one way or the other. And Municipal Planning Commission hasn't done anything differently.
No, but Phil is here to chat in case you want to ask him questions.
Oh, I forgot you were hiding over there.
I'm hiding in the corner,
I-
sure. All standing in the corner.
On the,
Did you sign in?
No, I did not.
I'll write you down here.
Okay, thank you.
under the municipal planning, I see under the secretarial services, it's the only thing that went up. Is that because we're updating the town plan and you're having to add some things, or is there something different there?
Again, I'm not a planning commission member, but sitting in on the meetings, I believe that they were anticipating more work to try and get the zoning reg update done, and therefore have help with compiling the work on the zoning regs.
Okay.
Again, I would ask that you speak to a commission member specifically, but that is what I believe that they were looking for extra help with the costs on that.
Okay.
Well, that kind of brings up the chill factor, I guess, for when you said that the town plan is.
It's
Is
2
it
years,
due
it's 2 years out, isn't it?
Okay.
They extended the time on the town plan from 5 years to 7 years, Joe, if I'm correct?
Honestly, Phil, I don't know.
Okay, I know that the state did increase the time period on the requirement to update your town plans. So we do have extra time with that.
Okay, because I'd like to, I guess it's obviously not you again, but we should know where they are, so we're not in the same situation we were the last time where we were.
Trying to do things at the 11th hour?
Yes.
I hear you, Bob. Yeah.
And it was, we were denied the ability to apply for a lot of grant funding because we didn't have a town plan that was up to date.
Approved, correct.
And after the town plan was over, the zoning regs were the next
Yes.
step there.
Yep.
to
And we've had,
conform.
again, because of the virus, and closing things down, it's been a harder row to hoe to try and go forward with that, because you have a stop and everybody, you've done this work, so much time ago, and then you're trying to get back on it. So just in speaking on my part of attending the meetings, it's been tough to try and plow ahead with it.
Yeah, I get that. But that would be interesting. That would be something that maybe the planning commission could let us, just give us a update at some point so we know. Does anybody see anything here that
Looks good to me.
No.
is spooky? I'm looking at municipal zoning.
Everyone looks the same.
There's,
I'm here for any questions. The only increase I've asked is a salary increase of the same as everybody else.
And that's,
And there may be less hours because of what's been going on with COVID. But again, it's hard for me to tell what I'm going to get for business or not. There's a steady supply of questions and answers and people I try and help, even when things are closed down. So I anticipate to still have some pretty steady work with zoning.
well, nationally, building is up. Don't ask me how that's possible.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Well, I know that unfortunately for a lot of folks, they were slowed down with the shutdown with things from getting their approvals and permits issued. And then they found, again, their contractors couldn't get the materials or it was a skyrocket price. So I think it slowed some projects and held up some projects, but I think things are still going to go forward as they always do with folks. But that's the only thing I with zoning, you're pretty much bare bones. The legal is still in that combined fund. The placards are an expense that are required to issue one for every zoning permit that's issued and issue them for hearings that require the notice. So they're every year try and have about the same number. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. With legal, there have been a few times that I've discussed something with Bill Bloomer to make sure I'm on solid ground with a zoning issue, but not very frequently, fortunately.
Okay. Looks good. Questions? I kind of look at everybody, but I don't look at you, Jeff.
We haven't looked at Jeff in a long time.
I know.
Year.
I'm all right. I'm still here. And I'm good on those three.
Okay. And the board of adjustment, zoning board.
Looks good.
Looks good. Looks good. Where are we here?
Page 8.
Baseball activities. Hello,
Nicole.
Nicole.
What's her last name?
Rice.
Nicole Rice.
That looks, there's nothing there, nothing's changed.
I remember her
I
saying
like all those zeros.
the money wasn't spent.
Well, it was one of those COVID years, so we didn't have,
Yeah.
Yeah, so recreation, Nicole, chime in if I'm wrong. So the rec did hold some of their programming this year. That's why you see some usage there. But yeah, baseball was a wash. I think completely.
Not so sure it won't be this year again, especially being springtime.
Doesn't look good.
No.
But anyways, we will cross our fingers and hope that we can do something.
Where did the money that wasn't spent, where did that go?
that 13.4.
That just goes back to the general fund. Any money that's not spent out of this budget just rolls right back into that pot of money. And then the board will have the option to, as we get towards the end of this budget, you'll see there's $171,000 dollars sitting there. That's the money that you'll be able to then allocate to where you place it. And this money is part of that 171.
Last year's, or
Last year's money.
this coming, well, they wouldn't spend this budgets until the springtime anyways, so.
No. This budget, yeah, they're gonna start spending, yeah.
Not this.
This will be here, yeah, this is gonna start in July 1.
Yeah, so, but the spring budget,
Right.
the baseball and all, that's all spring, so that's from the budget we're working on now, so that should show zero expenditure. I didn't look at that before. But, okay, so I don't see anything here unless anybody's got,
Leave it the way it is for now.
anybody's got, questions or
Nope.
we will. So, you're off the hook, Nicole.
Well, even the recreation department, it's all straight, everything's the
Yeah.
same, so,
Yeah.
I'd say for right now, leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I think the summer rec program went really well, considering the year we had and not having a single incident down there. You did well, Nicole.
Thank you very much. We were so happy to have it. It was great.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to hopefully you'll be working more this year. And that's not a slam, that's a wish. Honest.
Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on to memberships. And we have Lyle here. That, which one is,
We can see you, Lyle, you just can't see us. Yeah, you like this?
All right, well, I'll be careful how I look then. I gotta fix my hair.
clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me tonight. And I certainly don't want to overstay my welcome. So, Joe, specifically, what do you want me to address tonight so I don't disappoint anybody?
Oh, I think tonight we're dealing with is it the promotion?
Okay?
Yep.
Very good. Can you share your screen with me or allow me to share my screen with you?
Man, if I can remember how to do that.
You go down to the bottom and where it says share screen, I think you can click on something.
Multiple participants.
Let's try that.
Click on something.
Okay,
Isn't that a good direction?
yeah.
Just keep clicking.
Click on something.
Well, there's the
So I clicked on multiple people can share.
Oh, well, look at that. Okay.
Can you share it? Can you share it now?
I believe I can, but
There we
you
go.
tell me.
Man.
Okay. So I wanted to just briefly, I briefly wanted to tell you that, and probably you know this already, but Rutland Economic Development Corporation and the Rutland Region Chamber of Commerce have merged. And I'm not going to kill you with slides tonight. I've only got like 6, but this was the structure before. And I think when I came a couple of years ago, I came with Mary Cohen to talk about what we were doing with the Regional Marketing Initiative. Well, now it's one organization. And as you see by this chart, it used to be 2 organizations that looked very similar. And I don't expect you to read through all this, but so we went through a merger that we don't want people to think that we didn't think it through. It took us 4 months to go through the process. They asked me to come in late May to help put the 2 pieces together. Little did I know that Mary Cohen was going to move on to a different position, so I ended up back in this chair, which I'm excited to be in so I can be working with you folks again. So our mission is very similar. The Chamber and Reddick had very similar missions. We put them together, and that's basically our mission, which is the same mission probably every chamber and economic development program has around the state. And these are our bullet points. Again, I don't expect you to read through these. It's just here for when I do more broad presentations. But we believe that we are going to be able to do the work more efficiently, cost effectively, fewer staff, one location, the same advocacy and better, we hope, moving into the future. Our policy committee is working on some very, what we think are important things like broadband. We need to make sure that we're connected everywhere. We're talking about housing incentives for landlords so that they can improve their housing stock, because we do have people moving into the area that are looking for rental properties. We're also talking about tax burdens for veterans and senior citizens. We're one of only 12 states that tax senior citizens. And is it an opportunity for us to retain people who may be leaving because there are tax benefits elsewhere that they can get when they retire? And we're particularly concerned about our veterans and making sure that they are able to live here. So we're talking about tax burden on that. And then other government programs through the state that will encourage and broaden and grow business and industry. So we're doing that through 6 different committees. We used to have 13 committees, now we're more efficient. But we still have 55 people that are working on all these committees who are professionals in their areas. And someday I can come back and fill you in on more detail, but tonight's about budget, and I know you have other things to talk about. But as far as our budget goes, the Chamber and Reddick put their 2 budgets together. We were spending about $1.1 million. We're now at $848,000. That looks like a big number, but a large part of that is a incubator building that we own and operate. and that's costs in and out. So it looks like a big number, but it's not quite that big because of the building. So we went from 6 staff members, we now have 4 staff members. We're in one location on the corner of West Street and Merchants Row, a highly trafficked location and convenient for what we hope is people can stop in, when they can stop in. And again, I'm not going to bore you with lots of slides, but one of the first things we did when the governor's order came into effect was we went out and bought 50,000 masks, and we delivered those to forward-facing businesses that had folks that were coming in, and we didn't want people turned away. So we delivered to all the towns in the county, including Fairhaven and all the businesses. I even was up in Orwell delivering up there. And we still have a few masks left if people need those. Another thing we did was we did a survey, and we found out that from the businesses that we surveyed, they continued to say that it was important to do regional marketing. And they continued to say we need to promote small businesses. And so we are doing that. The Regional Marketing Initiative is really why I'm here to talk tonight, but I also wanted to thank you for being members of First Reddick, and now you are a member of the joined organization. Dues are the same, $500, but we hope that we'll be able to broaden our services. So to talk specifically about what you want to hear about tonight, which is the Regional Marketing Initiative, and people are saying, well, it seems odd to me, Lyle, that we're talking about regional marketing during a pandemic. And that's probably true. But what I'd like to show you is what we've done as far as money goes over the last 4 years. We've spent a lot of money, and Fairhaven has helped to support that. And what you'll see up here at the top under revenue is $482,000. And you will see that, let's see, about $100,000 of that has come from Rutland City. Then there are other municipalities like you folks who have put into the fund, and business and industry, you'll see, is a huge investor in this regional marketing. You'll also see down here at the bottom how we've spent the money, and yes, it's been on a Lyft, a marketing firm, First Mondo, and now we're using Lyft. And there was digital advertising, print advertising, television advertising, and so forth. So what did that get us? Because that's the question you want to ask. Well, what are we getting? And so what we are getting from that is, and this won't sound like a big number, we have 30 families that we know came here directly from the program. That's more than 70 individuals. And of those individuals, it's interesting that about 15 of them are remote workers. And that trend, we believe, will be enhanced in the future because of COVID. Vermont's gotten a lot of attention because we've done things well. And we hope that that will continue, even though it seems a little darker right at the moment. So we will continue to work on broadband. We'll continue to work on housing. We'll continue to work on political advocacy in Montpelier. But this budget is part of a 10-year plan. And we have about $28,000 in the budget moving forward, but we need about $100,000 more in the coming year, assuming COVID ends in the summer so that we can begin to do more advertising. But what else has this gotten us? Lyle, you just told us only 30 families and 70 people. Well, what if we didn't get them? And what if it went the other way? That would be worrisome. But what we also did get was, as part of the realrutland.com website, we got 5,000 emails that came in, or 5,000 hits, and we know who those people are. We can reach out to them now, and we're about to do that. And this diagram right here shows you how we're going to do it. Before COVID hit, we had these 5,000 names in a can, and we were just about ready to shake that can and see who came out the bottom so that we could catch them and offer them to live here with us and work here and bring their businesses here. We put that on pause briefly, but now we're ready to get that going again in a safe way. And what you're looking at is an automated system. I told you a minute ago, we only have 4 staff members, and we've got other things we're working on too. But this automated system created by Lyft will begin to filter those emails and filter those people through this system to see if we have over here at the end some hot leads. And those hot leads are people that are going to reach out to our concierge service. And we've done a training of about 25 people who I consider the catchers. They're the folks that when these people come through as hot leads and have questions, they're going to be able to answer those questions and hopefully encourage those people to come live here and bring their businesses here. So those concierge folks, those 25 people, went through an interview process. We know their demographic. We know if they have kids, what town they live in, and so forth. And so we're hoping to match up the people that come through with the right concierge so those people will stay. So down here you see this piece is there's about 4 times 5, so there's 20 different emails that people that are going through this shoot with their email addresses are going to get messages from us, inviting them to reconnect with us. They have 3 options: don't answer, opt out, or answer. If they don't answer, next week they get another email, and the week after they get another email. If they do answer, we hook them up with our concierge service, and hopefully they'll come here to live with us and bring their businesses. So I'm going to stop sharing so you can look at my balding head. And the last time I was here, I didn't have quite as much white hair here. But I'm glad I'm back because I get to work with folks like you. So what are we looking for? Same thing that Mary Cohen and I came in 2 years ago to ask for. We're hoping that folks will contribute $1 a person from their community. This is a 10-year plan. You know I'm going to come back next year. You've heard me say before in the past, this isn't a pay-to-play activity. Fairhaven's going to play anyway, and we're going to really encourage people to look at Fairhaven. On the Real Rutland website, though, I need help because we have every town on the Real Rutland website. We need to populate the Fairhaven one with what you want it to look like. Right now, I think we have the Marble Inn there and the downtown. And it talks about Fairhaven being the westward gateway to the county. But we want it to say what you want it to say. So we need help to figure that out and a person to help us with that. That could be Joe, that could be someone else. The money that we're going to get, like Rutland City has again given us $16,000. They have 16,000 people. We've been to Pittsburgh. I'm traveling to many of the towns around the county asking the same thing. But I do want you to remember the biggest contributor there is business and industry, because they recognize the importance of getting more people here. Because even now during COVID, when we feel like we've got these spikes in unemployment, when they advertise for positions, they can't find the people that have the skills to fill those positions. We want to help with that. So I'm here tonight to ask for, I think it was $2,700 that you have provided over the last few years in a very consistent and generous way. I hope that you'll be able to continue doing that. Here to answer any questions you have and can come back at any time, and certainly don't expect an answer tonight. Did I put everybody to sleep?
That must be on the line item, right? That must be appropriation.
I'm a lifelong administrator, I can keep talking.
No, I was just taking out, this is Glenn Travers, by the way. Good to see you again, Lyle. I'm looking at this, and I don't want you to take this comment wrong, but when I listen to like the outliers, you're either Rutland or Killington, and sometimes when you're trying to asking for marketing money like this, what I run into and I hear is we seem to forget about the Fairhavens, the Puntleys, the Proctors, the Brandons, and all the emphasis goes Rutland and Killington. Not saying it's true or it's not true. I'm just saying that is a heavy perception. So when the ask goes to get something like $2,700 based on the number of the population here, folks are saying, okay, what is that? What am I getting? Am I getting the marketing for that there?
And it's an absolutely fair question. And Killington, because of the resort, has money to spend. Rutland City is a larger community, larger tax base, but we have the same conversation. And it's interesting, wherever I go, it's the same question. Why do you call this Real Rutland? Well, you know, a few years ago, I wanted to call it Killington Valley. That didn't go anywhere. And then it was Slate Valley. Well, that didn't go very far with other people. So it's hard to get the name right, but we are Rutland County. And I can't help but think, if we get more people here, not everybody wants to live in Rutland City. They want to live in other places. And it will benefit everyone if we get more people to come here. What I need from you is what you're saying, Glenn, which is, what are we going to get? Well, I need your help in contributing to what's on the website so that we have there what you want people to see. And there are other ways that you can contribute just by being part of the committee structures that we have. And we would love to do that. And I continue to send Joe the links to our marketing meeting so that he can attend when he's available. It's about participation. Are you getting anything right now? It's hard to say.
No, it isn't.
No, we're
Again,
not.
It's not hard at all, Lyle.
We're not.
We're not getting anything, and we haven't
for a long time.
We haven't gotten anything. I've been kind of polite, and I let Glenn be nice. I'll be the bad cop. We haven't gotten anything. We absolutely haven't gotten anything. I didn't even know there was a marketing committee. This is the first time anybody's asked us what we'd like for input. You know, it's tough. It's a tough sell when the focus is Rutland or Killington. It really is, and it's a tough sell. We need Fairhaven's a bedroom community. There's no getting around that. So we need a strong, vibrant Rutland. There's no doubt about that. But we also need to be promoted, and I haven't seen it. I honestly haven't seen it.
For instance,
I'm going to send Joe our annual meeting movie, and I hope that he'll share that with you. And it is a movie about all 27 towns in our big city. It's 34 minutes long, and it highlights every town, oh so briefly. But Fairhaven is there. Fairhaven's actually at the very end because Aaron Audette is there standing in front of the Marble Inn. It's a beginning. Now, Lyle, you just told me you put a picture on and it's $2,700. It's a start, and we need your contribution, and we need someone to come join our committee. That's how you have a seat at the table and you can be heard and appreciated, because I've heard consistently that you haven't felt appreciated and that you haven't felt served. And we certainly want to change that. But we need somebody at the table with us. And you don't have to pay to be at the table. If you want to say, come back and talk to us next year, Joe, go join their marketing committee. Let's do that.
but we didn't even get, I guess what bothered me the most is when other towns got this $10 certificate if you bought $30 worth of stuff. We weren't even considered. Pulteney was here, Castleton got it. We've got stores here in this town that could use that, and we got nothing.
So we went to towns that we knew had chambers, and we didn't come to Fairhaven because I didn't believe you had a chamber. And Joe said it had been after the fact. Joe called me up and said, hey, how come we didn't get $10,000 too? I didn't think you had a chamber, but you do have an economic development committee, which the money could have flowed through. So if there's another round of similar opportunity, everybody can play.
But what's the chamber got to do with it?
The money had to flow through a nonprofit, and so it had to flow through like the Rutland Chamber, which was still us, the Killington KPAA, the Pulteney, they had an economic development group, Castleton had an economic development group, the Chamber up in Brandon. So those were the 5 organizations. But again, having somebody at the table would be great.
Why, Miles, Jeff, Sheldon, why couldn't it just flow through the town?
That's an interesting question, because Rutland City wanted to have it flow through them too, and it couldn't. It was the way that the tourism and marketing department was putting the money out. It could flow through the Downtown Partnership, which is another organization in Rutland, and it did. There was $10,000 there. Our money was focused, I say ours, the $10,000 that our organization got was focused primarily on restaurants because they were most severely hurt here in the Rutland City and Rutland Town area. But it's interesting to note that half of that money wasn't used. And so, because people are not going out to eat, period. You can't pay them to go out to eat. And so what we're doing with the money left over from our grant is that we're going to do a shop local county-wide marketing effort. So you're going to begin to hear that on the radio, Facebook, the newspaper, and so forth. So,
Were you, when did you, go ahead, Carol.
Is it too late to be part of that for the downtown businesses?
yes, that grant ended, we had to have everything submitted in early November for that.
I
And
just
so
heard
that
you
piece,
say
that piece is over. Other than this advertising, which we had to prepay for because it's this COVID money that you have to use up quick. And so we had to prepay for all the advertising, but it doesn't say shop local in Rutland, it says shop local. And that's gonna be going out countywide.
How long were you on with us? Did you hear the discussion about our power grid and were you here for that? Well, then I won't bore you with it except to say that, we are very aware that broadband needs to be expanded, but, we may need some help with power grid. Our power grid is substandard this side, well, Castle and Fairhaven.
This side of
Birdseye, the old saying. So, I mean, we can't even get into the 20th century to say anything about the 21st or anything else. So, we could use some promotion here, and we could use some people talking for us on this side of the mountain, and so it's the same old story. It's the same thing I say every time we talk. And so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we need to see something tangible. We don't see it, and that's the problem. We'll get somebody to go to your meetings. Either, I don't know if it'll be Joe, but it'll be one of us or the Economic Development Corp.
We might be able to get someone from Economic Development to go.
Yeah.
One thing we hopefully, I think there was we probably had a little bit of a communication snafu between us and Reddick and anyway. Also, there's an opportunity. I saw that you were at the last Rutland Regional Planning Commission meeting, and I'm now on that representing Fairhaven, so I should see you at the next meeting. So we can try to hold each other accountable a little bit.
That's a good plan.
But we can get there. So it sounded like you had two asks. Let me see if I can summarize that. You were looking for some promotion money in addition to the $500 that we were going in for Reddick. You were looking, and the recommendation was $2,700. But if you're open for any promotion money, if it's not $2,700, could it be something lower to start with?
It can be what you feel comfortable with, because that's the important part.
Okay.
We of course are asking everyone for the same thing, so that people will say, well, how much are you asking everybody else for? Same thing, $1 a person. I'm gonna go to Mount Holly and ask for $1 a person.
Yeah.
But if you can't do that, I totally get what comes first are sewage and culverts and the things that need to work in your town. I totally get that. And I've lived that. So you need to do what you feel comfortable with. If you said no, are you not going to see me again? Absolutely not. We're going to come back. I want to learn more about this power grid. I'm going to talk with Joe and we'll figure out who's going to come and be on our committee. How am I going to learn more about your power grid? And make you feel comfortable that we're there for you too.
Well,
that's why even when we went out with these masks, it was my first thing on the job. I said, we got to go everywhere and bring these masks. We got to let people know that we're here for all of them. So we went as far and wide as we could. And quite frankly, we didn't do everything in Rutland City. We went outside the city first because Brandon says the same thing you do. What are you doing for us? And all the other towns say, what are you doing? Wallingford, Clarendon. We need to show what we're doing.
Yeah. And it's all the same stuff you were talking about. Like, we've got open space for business to come in downtown. And as an economic development committee, we keep talking about one of our biggest challenges is we don't do marketing well at all. So that trying to connect with you folks and get some help in that marketing arena, absolutely. Sounds.
So we can put
like
on
the right stuff.
our site locator, we can put any openings that you have. And Joe will tell you, I called him, I don't know, it was 4 weeks ago, Joe, looking for a site because we had a company that was very interested. It was a huge piece of property that they wanted, and they're not going to find it, quite frankly, in Rutland. But I thought about the slate industry, and I thought about Carreras, and I thought about the building they had. That wasn't big enough. So they went someplace up in Linden. But we need to get, to your point, what we need to do is get what you know is available, and I don't know is available, on our site locator, so that when somebody comes in, I can say, yeah, let's call Joe. He's got 4,000 square feet over there.
Sounds good.
But I don't know what I don't know. And as I just described to you, we've gone from 6 people to 4 people, and I have the same amount of work. So what we need are our committees to work very effectively together. So if we have someone, we've got several different committees, you can choose who you want and what committee you want them to be on, what would be best for you. And it might be the business development committee. It might be the marketing committee, or it might not be. It would be up to you. And we have a policy committee. We're always looking for people for policy because, quite frankly, it gets a little dry sometimes. And there's not a lot of fast activity going on, as you know. So to get something changed takes a long time, and it takes patience.
Okay, let us talk amongst ourselves, and we will certainly get somebody on the committee. We will certainly stay in the membership, I think, and we'll talk about promotion money.
And Lyle, are you gonna email that chart with the committees so we know when we ask for someone to get on a committee, we've got something to show them what the committees are?
I absolutely can. I'll forward Joe this PowerPoint that I just showed you.
Yeah.
The movie that we made. And before we get off, and I'm not just trying to butter Joe up, but I know you've got how much you appreciate Joe. Because since I've been here from 2 years ago to now, I'm hearing a lot of positive things going on in Fairhaven, like your sewer project. The two, Joe, was it building grounds and general services grants that you got for downtown businesses, I think? Yep. So there's positive things going on. We'd like to help you get that word out too.
Well, we'd like to have you.
So, all right. And also that my job is sales, but then the other side of sales is delivery. So let's work on the delivery.
Thanks, Lyle.
Amen.
Okay.
Thanks, Lyle.
Talk to you soon. Take care. Yep. Great to hear all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That would be memberships.
Yep. Reddit promotion is the 4th one from the top, and we did cut it back to 500, but then it was.
We haven't done anything.
We didn't do anything in the last.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything from them.
Well, and the reason I asked about the lower numbers is track record hasn't been good. I don't know about the 2,700. Do you, everyone deserves a second chance. This is just me speaking. Do we put 500 there under promotion and see if we can get someone for a committee and move on?
I think we should stay in. I mean, obviously we should stay in the Reddick, the membership, the Reddick members, that's 500. The promotion has not been.
They've done nothing.
They've done nothing, but I mean.
But we haven't been active on a committee, so I would
but
potentially,
never have.
but we have a chance to if we do what he's asking. I might be interested in doing that. So if we didn't put any money toward it this year, but put other than somebody's time to help get Fairhaven promoted, and we saw a change, then we could tell them, we'll put some money toward it, but first we have to see some activity.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind putting the 500 back in. One-time shot. And I know I've said this before.
I would agree on 500.
And it gets us our foot in the door, and it said we're not totally out of the running yet.
I've seen the movie, it almost brought me to tears, like you would want to move here. It's
really
so
good.
awesome.
That they did.
But, yeah, I mean, the shot of the Marble Inn isn't gonna do it.
No, I mean, we need to be more active ourselves, and this is probably a way to get some promotion if we're involved. And if you wanted to do that, it'd be great, you know. But we can talk about that part of it later. But
I mean, Joe might be the right person to do that, but maybe we have two, might be enough for two people to do some.
There's 6 committees or something.
It would be nice to get a lot of representation.
Yeah.
Because folks like this, you need to have a voice at the table, or
yes.
Or like what happens, they forget about you.
I say we put 500 into the promotion.
Okay. And just keep.
I agree. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I like the promotion. I think you, even at the $2,700, I think the peripheral exposure you get out of it has got to be worth $2,700. Does that make sense?
No. We had,
it may make sense. It may make sense, but
I've sat in this board for 13 years, and I have not seen one. When we had the Skyline building empty for 5 years or 6 years, we even called over there, and they wouldn't even send one person over here to look at it. They're more worried about developing the industrial park around Rutland Airport. They would not send nobody over here to look at this building. So don't tell me that $2,700 is going to do it, because it's not going to happen.
Well, I think we start out low, like with the 500 that it seems like we can get out of this board and out of this town, and then if we're getting at least a little.
Look at the 27.
Yeah, like you said, the Marble Inn, a picture of the Marble Inn isn't enough.
I'm with you, Jeff, on the 27. I just thought it was a bridge too far right now.
But you've also got to expect that our committee members need to put something in to get more than a picture of the Marble Mansion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And you gotta self-promote. And I mean, what happens to us, and my pet peeve in this is that every time a certain part of this community or this town needs a little extra money, we hear about the drug problem. And that's what makes it to the papers. And so we need to promote what's good about this town, and that's a perfect start. It's a perfect start, so.
Sounds good.
So we live with 500, everybody?
I put $500 down on the variant here.
And we'll hope for the best, and we'll be a little more proactive ourselves, and then we can, if we're, like you say, if you're there, they can't forget you.
That was the last one.
So, is that the last one for tonight?
Intergovernment. 9,300.
We got that? Oh, is that on there too?
That's right below it,
Yeah. Which have you gotten the tax rate? Usually they're about the last thing that comes
Yeah, no, it's not. We don't have the numbers yet.
Right, we don't have the info.
It's like the most worthless piece of money that we spend in this whole budget.
Yep.
It really is. Even above and beyond Reddick.
You're awful.
What exactly does it go for, Bob? I've always been unclear.
County sheriff.
Yeah.
The side judges.
It's your county. Yeah, it's your county.
Yeah, and you know, county government in the state of Vermont is not strong. It's not like New York State or anything like that. So it's $15,000 that we
just throw away.
We throw to.
We put $15,000 in here, and if we want the sheriffs to come in here, we got to pay for them.
Yeah.
You know.
It only pays for the sheriff. It doesn't pay for any of his.
The sheriff itself.
Yeah.
The head office.
His office. Yeah. But it doesn't pay for any of his people. But it's a per capita thing, and then they send us a budget, like the side judges put it together, and they send us a budget about 3 days before we need to decide, if we're
Yep.
lucky. Well, you know,
Yep.
preaching to the choir. But at this point, it's at 15,000, which is up $300, and who knows? You may be right.
That was a guess.
And then
Keep it
judgment and damages are the same anyways.
Yep. Nothing's changed there. Moving right along.
I don't mean
We're
to
on the
get,
parking lot.
I don't mean to get rowdy about stuff, but you know, like I said, 13 years and I saw absolutely nothing from Reddit.
Oh, no,
It's a legitimate argument. It really doesn't. I've said it to him a million times.
Yep, I know. I've been here many times when you said it to him.
He knows what I.
And that last promotion that they just forgot about us was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty.
That hurt.
It hurt pretty bad.
Yeah. You know, and when he was saying they had a, well, we didn't have a chamber. Well, we had the same thing that 6
That
other
everybody
towns
else
had.
did.
That polling is,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think we do have a chamber. We're not real active,
Plus,
but.
right.
It's a
we haven't had
regional,
one
it's
involved
like
in the
Bolton, Rutland Regional or
so
something.
it's Castle.
Castle, yeah. So anything in the parking lot that jumps out at everybody?
Just so for our projects, I can give you just very briefly. We're still waiting for the contractor to send back his final proposal for the parking lot and the lighting in the park. Once he gets that in, I think it's due on the 11th of this month. Then we'll start with all the research for like artifacts and all the permitting. The permit for the shed is moving forward. Because of the wetlands, they have to post that on, the state has to post that on their website for 30 days. So that way they can solicit comments. We're not expecting any comments, but you never know. Town hall, we did get, I think we talked previously about, we did get some insurance money to fix that beam. Todd did give us a number to install the beam, but he wanted to see some engineering around that. He just doesn't want to just go and put some steel in. So I reached out to get a number from the architect for to get the engineering for it. And I'm also banging on the door of the insurance company again, telling them we need some extra cash to get that engineered.
Which they gotta know.
The guy, it's like pulling teeth with these folks. And I understand they're in it to make money, but they haven't been real.
That's why they have the big buildings.
That's, so, for those, I think that's all really that's moving right now.
One question I've got on the lighting in the park. Are you gonna include the historical society in this when you start looking at designs and what they think they might want?
Sure. I'd like, I know there's the itty bitties wanted, and they've already started taking part in it. I would love it if everybody who had an opinion joined in.
Because it just, the more ideas, the better it is.
And the more people that are involved, the more,
Yeah.
more they can feel ownership.
I don't know if we've gone through, did we go through the stuff for the parade and the Christmas?
I was thinking that too. I think we did the first time around, didn't we?
Okay, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know that they're working hard to keep stuff going on in the park. And Christmas time, they want to replace all the lights on those trees next year to put LDI or whatever the hell they call them. LDA, what are the lights? LEDs.
LED.
They want to put them on all the trees, and so everything's bright and everything's, so, I mean, that money could go toward that.
Sure.
I mean, it's a nice project in town. I mean, even what they've done, it looks good down there. You know, I gotta go down and check some trees, because I think some tipped over, but, you know, I just think that the money from the Christmas, whatever the hell it is, we can let them use some of it. I don't think it's gonna, I know from what I've listened to them down there, if they had $100 this year, or $150 this year, they'd had plenty for everything they've done.
Oh yeah, and you know what, if they ever need anything, because for some of that we can take it out of recreation because it is rec oriented, and with our program not running
they got some
full.
stuff out. I mean, I don't know what they've got, but you know, like for the stick figures and stuff like that, there wasn't a lot of money involved there. But, you know, it's hard for them to do something when everybody's kinda taking it out of their pocket to get, you know, get this stuff.
Well, they shouldn't do that. They should come see us.
And, you know, I just
See
think
Joe.
it's been something that I think they've done a great job just bringing people in to look at the stuff, you know, and a lot of people looked at the stick figures because there was a path right around it.
Yeah, there was, people love that, that's sure.
It looks real nice tonight. I noticed tonight the tree at the fountain and the gazebo's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think there's 2 trees on the back side of the gazebo that's tipped over and I think they're lame. I'll check them in the morning and I know I'll be told to, so I mean, it's just.
Check tonight.
Get first jump on it.
What the heck, after a promotion like that, you think you get the day off?
On the parking lot, just a question on the alley closure that I have here, because that's the one with the salt and that we were talking about. And we're gonna be having snow, we're gonna be plowing pretty soon. Is that just holding a place, or did we, are you looking for something, another meeting, a proposal that says that it's not necessarily closure, but is there an action that needs to be taken, or we haven't done anything about the concern, which was the salt on the side of the building, if I remember correctly?
I wonder if we could just, even if you plowed it, instead of putting salt on it, sand it. I know it's hard because you get some ice buildup. But instead of going through and spreading the salt, you know what I'm saying, where it's going against all the buildings, if you just run a trail through the middle of it or something and put sand there, like they do in the sidewalks, you know, and if it gets bad, close the alley. You know what I'm saying? If it gets to the point where you can't, it's just that the salt is deteriorating the buildings terrible.
Yeah. I did talk to Aaron about this, I just don't recall what the answer was.
So-
So I'll email an answer tomorrow once I get.
There was some kind of action, that's all.
Yeah. To close it permanently though, that's, I think I'd said before,
it'd be hard.
I mean, it would be months to get it done and there's no way to get it done before.
And that's why I was wondering if we get something that makes sense, then we take it off our parking lot, as a parking lot as
All I say is they just,
as long as we solve the problem.
so it doesn't hit the buildings, that's all. You know, 'cause they get the snow out of there pretty good. I mean, they take the snow, they push it right out back, or they push it up into the street. But when they go down through the sand or the salt truck, it just you can't do it any different. The spreader spreads it, you know?
Okay, good.
Board roundtable. Carol?
Which house is it on Mechanic Street that we're talking about?
It's right at the end of Mechanic
Big
Street,
corner.
Oh.
with the yellow
Yeah, I
tape.
know, okay, yeah. I should've-
Birdhouse.
Yep, Teresa's house, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is a request, personal request, but, coming off my road onto Scotch Hill, for 2 years, we've been told a new culvert's gonna be put in because the town broke it when they were plowing. I don't know if any of you have seen it when the ice, it gets so icy right there when you hit it. It's not a problem coming off our road, but people coming down Scotch Hill, because you go over the hill and it's ice right across when the rest of the road can be perfectly clear. So it's really a safety issue, and I don't know if it's too late to fix it for this year, but it was totally iced over this morning. I'm surprised there hasn't been a big accident.
Can the water come through the pipe itself right now?
No.
It can't, okay.
No, so it comes down like McCormick's lawn, and then it spreads over because the road goes down, so
Yeah.
that whole stretch
Yeah, 'cause I've been up through there in the
is
winter time to see it.
really icy.
And we've been talking about this because Jim hit me with it right after Aaron left the first time. So
Yeah.
it's not a new thing.
No, and he said a couple different people have told him, yeah, you know, it's gonna get done, it's gonna get done.
I did. I definitely told him that.
Well, I think they still got time to do it. If they got a culvert, how long is it gonna take to go up and put a culvert in?
Yeah,
It should,
the ground's
especially
not
if it,
frozen.
yeah, if it's that dangerous, we should,
It really is.
we should get that.
And even if they open, even if
Known about this.
they go down through and open up some of that ditch
Yeah.
a little bit, so the water can go down and not come across the road.
Now, remind me, what road, what's your?
Griffin Road.
Where it says Griffith Pond Road,
With that fancy new sign.
that big sign you can see all through town.
Yeah.
It's,
It's a nice sign.
yeah,
Yeah, let me get them down there. If it's gonna ice up, that's pretty, you're going pretty fast right there. We don't want any
it's
trouble.
not good.
No.
I know last year, the bus driver that goes up there complained about that quite a bit.
Alright.
That's all.
All right, I saw in your round table, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about this deal about going plowing snow for somebody else. And, you know, I'm not sure, and you got Jim working on it and all that. The problem I've got is we're gonna send somebody out in one of our dump trucks to another town where they don't know the roads, they don't know any of the hazards, and 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be after hours. Are we gonna pay these guys time and a half money to do this?
Is this the, go ahead.
I don't know.
This is the thing with the helping out other towns. that-
Yeah, the
which I was against.
mutual aid agreement. Well, it would depend on where they would go, or what time they would go, but yeah, they would be paid their regular wage.
Yeah, so if they gotta clean our roads first.
Oh, sure.
And then they're gonna be on overtime, so we're gonna send them to another town and pay these guys time and a half money out of our budget with nothing in return?
No, we get reimbursed.
I'm gonna
You can
answer,
say no anytime you want.
I'm gonna answer that with a yes, but, so it would come directly out of the budget, but with the mutual aid agreement, FEMA would then respond and repay that money.
This is emergency.
About 6 months later.
Yeah, but it's emergency.
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially, and we would never, we will maintain our town
But who's
first.
gonna pay for it if they smash a truck, or if they break a plow, or they do something like damage to the equipment?
But it's emergency, it's mutual aid,
Our insurance is gonna cover that anyway.
Okay, and it comes back onto the town because our insurance is gonna go up.
and if we need it, and we're sitting here saying no,
Just asking for it.
you know,
I'm just
it's
saying,
crazy.
I'm just saying, my feeling is if we get equipment smashed, they should be stopped. Because we're gonna have to pay to take care of this stuff. You know, and I understand mutual aid, don't believe me, but I'm just worried. I plowed snow for a long time, and if you don't know the road you're on, you can get in problem real quick.
It's not, the mutual aid agreement though isn't solely just plowing snow and.
I understand that, but my question is because the way that it read in the, thing that Joe sent us, that's what it was about right now, it was about snow plowing. And that's my concern. And I think it should be all of our concerns, not just one person.
I think because it's an emergency and it's a, you know, for lack of a better word, disaster kind of a situation. FEMA's gonna pay, it'll take a while, there's no doubt about it, but
they're not gonna pay if your truck gets smashed.
yes, they are.
No,
They're
they
gonna
won't,
pay
Bob.
all that stuff.
Listen, I worked under FEMA when I had my trucks. If you got paid, you were lucky to begin with. And then they don't pay for any repairs, they don't pay for anything. If you're broke down, guess what? They just hire another truck.
I think it's different. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think Jay is probably right, that they will just hire a different truck. I would hold my breath that I would be completely reimbursed for all the repairs and things like that in a FEMA situation.
I think you gotta look, I'm sorry to interrupt, sorry.
Well, I think it's more helping out your neighbors, and they're gonna help you out. It's an emergency situation, one-time deal kind of thing. It's not a ongoing, I'm gonna take care of you, you know, every winter storm.
It's not.
Bigger than that.
You're missing the point of what I'm trying to make here. The taxpayers, if the money doesn't come in and we get a truck smashed up, the taxpayers are the ones that gotta pay for it. And I understand helping somebody out, don't get me wrong. But I just wanna make sure that we understand if something it's no different than the highway safety program. We get a cruiser smashed up, they're not gonna give you a dime to help you out. At all. It's all of our liability. So that's the only point I'm trying to make. I'm not saying not do it.
Right.
But I'm just saying, these guys have gotta know personally, I would rather see them just go plow a road in the daytime. If it's, you know what I'm saying, get our stuff done, go home and go up early in the morning and plow a road that you don't know what you're doing, at least you see what's going on. I mean, that might be, you know what I'm saying? Like, you take somebody go up in Benson, in some of them back roads. Come on, you know? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just saying we gotta make sure we're cautious and we gotta make sure, you know, what goes on. That's all I'm saying about that. Now, quick question, I think you can probably answer this. Does Hubbardton Forge still own the racetrack?
No.
They don't? That lumber company owns it,
Nope.
right? They don't either?
No, I think, I think Reed bought it back. Reed owns it.
Oh, the gentleman that used to have it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering if Reddick decides that they might want to do something with us, if that piece of property would be available. I mean, that's a pretty good area right there. You know, I mean, there's gotta be, I don't know, there's gotta be 15 acres there.
Yeah, that's all.
Or 20 acres.
I think it's 30. I think,
you know,
seems like 30 comes to my mind, but I'm not.
Yeah, but even, I mean, just, and you're just including what the racetrack and stuff there is. I mean, that'd be a great place for a factory.
Sure.
There's water there, there's sewer there.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Everything's there. As a matter of fact, we footed the bill to put the water up there. If you,
All
right?
the water and sewer.
Water and sewer. This was years ago.
It's all, yeah, it's
So,
all set up for, you know, relative, it's all brand new as far as anything. in the
I'm just
world.
wondering if it'd be worth to try to get a hold of him and see if he would be interested if something was to come along. I mean, I'm sure there's a, you know, a wicked price on it, but still, it's good land. It's flat land and everything's there.
Well, I'm sure that he bought it back to sell it. And he wasn't gonna build it.
Wasn't gonna build it, yeah.
His homestead there.
Okay, well, I just thought that might be something you want to throw out.
Yeah, Reed Hampton. He's in Hubbardton.
And I see they got the hole in front here filled up. How long did it take them to do it? 15 minutes?
I was gonna say 30 minutes maybe.
And we argued for 2 hours.
I'll give it to you, Jay. It didn't take that long.
Okay.
That's,
I mean, we should have just done it.
I should have just done it.
Should have just done it and had it over with.
Yep. But then we wouldn't have those good conversations.
Well, yeah, I know, they were good ones. Okay, that's all I've got.
Glenn?
I don't have anything.
Jeff?
I'm good for now.
So am I, actually. So we'll do financial reports.
Motion to pay the payroll warrant, $30,695.30.
Second?
Questions, comments? That's a school payment in there.
Yeah, this time, right?
Payroll.
Yeah.
That's payroll, but yeah, there's a school payment appropriations in the other one.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
And the general fund, which has your school payment and appropriations, $720,255.29.
Second?
All those in favor? I already made my comment.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And the checkbook is $78,471.29.
Hopefully that's after the 700,000. Well, we're gonna be overdrawn some. Okay. We have an executive session?
We do.
Make a motion to go into executive session for contract negotiation and insurance, 1 VSA 313A1.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session as soon as we can clear the room.